Hello and welcome. Today we gather to examine a phrase that pierces the heart of human morality and psychology: all cruelty springs from weakness. This statement, attributed to the Roman philosopher Seneca, invites us to explore the roots of human cruelty, not in power or strength, but in frailty, insecurity, and an inner lack of fortitude. It is a claim both profound and controversial, for it challenges the notion that cruelty is the tool of the strong and instead suggests that it is the refuge of the weak. Let us begin by defining cruelty. Cruelty is the deliberate infliction of suffering upon another, whether through physical harm, emotional torment, or moral degradation. It is an act that dehumanizes not only the victim but also the perpetrator. Many assume that cruelty is the prerogative of the powerful, a manifestation of their dominion over the weak. However, if we look closer, we find that true strength, moral, intellectual, and emotional, rarely gives rise to cruelty. Instead, it is from the depths of weakness that cruelty emerges. The psychology of cruelty: when we speak of weakness, we must clarify that we do not mean physical frailty or a lack of material power alone. Rather, we refer to an inner weakness, a spiritual, psychological, or ethical deficiency. Consider the tyrant who inflicts suffering upon his subjects. Does he do so from strength? Or does his cruelty arise from fear, from a desperate need to maintain control? His oppression stems from an awareness of his own precarious position, his inability to inspire loyalty, and his failure to rule through wisdom. Similarly, the bully, whether in the schoolyard or the workplace, torments others not from a place of inner security but from a deep-seated self-doubt and insecurity. The cruel individual is often consumed by fear: fear of being exposed, fear of being overthrown, fear of being seen as weak themselves. This fear translates into aggression, as they seek to project strength through acts of domination. However, true strength lies not in domination, but in restraint, not in the ability to destroy, but in the ability to elevate others. Historical and philosophical perspectives: history is replete with examples that illustrate this principle. The most despotic rulers, from Caligula to Stalin, exercised extreme cruelty not because they were confident in their rule, but because they were deeply paranoid. Their actions were driven by an internal fragility, an inability to trust others or to govern through virtue. Contrast this with the greatest leaders of history, those who exhibited magnanimity, patience, and justice. These individuals, possessing genuine strength, had no need for cruelty. Even in philosophy and religion, we find this truth reflected. The Stoics, including Seneca himself, taught that true strength comes from mastery over oneself, from the ability to endure hardship with dignity rather than lash out in response to suffering. Christianity, Buddhism, and many other spiritual traditions emphasize that cruelty is a failure of the self, an inability to act from love, wisdom, or patience. Those who harm others do so because they lack the inner fortitude to confront their own suffering and fears. Implications for ethics and society: if we accept that cruelty stems from weakness, what are the implications for our personal and societal ethics? First, we must recognize that responding to cruelty with greater cruelty only perpetuates the cycle. If cruelty is a product of weakness, then the true response is not mere retribution, but the cultivation of strength, both in ourselves and in others. Justice must not become an excuse for cruelty; rather, it must be tempered with wisdom and guided by a commitment to rehabilitation and understanding. Moreover, understanding the roots of cruelty enables us to address its causes. Instead of treating cruelty as an inescapable trait of humanity, we can see it as a symptom of deeper wounds, wounds that can, perhaps, be healed. If fear, insecurity, and ignorance fuel cruelty, then education, compassion, and self-reflection become the antidotes. Conclusion: Seneca's assertion that all cruelty springs from weakness is not merely an observation but a call to cultivate true strength, the strength of character, wisdom, and restraint. It urges us to look beyond mere power and instead seek the inner fortitude that renders cruelty unnecessary. True strength is found not in the ability to harm, but in the courage to uplift. And so, my friends, let us strive not to be cruel, but to be strong in the truest sense, secure in our values, guided by wisdom, and steadfast in our humanity. Thank you.